rolling.
Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 170 of the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. We are brought to you by Black Belt Digital Marketing. Anything you need to build your business on or offline, website design, SEO, Google Ads, graphic design, printing. We can help with absolutely everything. Check us out at Black Belt Digital Marketing on Instagram or our website, which is bbdigitalmarketing.com. You can request a free review of your entire online presence today. My name is Milton Campus. I'm a black belt training out of Coral Springs, BJJ in Coral Springs, Florida. We got Christian behind the camera.
Hey, what's up?
We've got Daniel behind the camera. And you guys aren't going to forget to do some pictures and some vids for us while you're out there.
No, absolutely not.
We got Ben on co-hosting duties.
Hi.
Ben Stark. Hey,
It's
how
me.
you doing? You want to give your let's talk a little bit about Fight Rap and how everything's going with it's Fight Tape.
Yes.
What's the Instagram handle?
FightTape.us.
Okay, and then every time I look over your shoulder and I say Fight Tape and then I see Fight Rap and I'm like,
Gauze product, tape product.
okay. Everything at fighttape.us. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Very cool. How's everything going?
Great. My cut team, Cutman Pro, booked the dirty boxing events. We had one last Saturday. They used all of our products. Everything was Fight Tape. I'm building out some media to hopefully push through there and build things up. Island Fights just made a big order with us yesterday.
Island Fight. Is it Island Fights?
It's more Pensacola.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it sounds like that. But,
okay.
So awesome. We're starting to get the word out. People are picking up. And, so thus far, everyone really likes the product. So I'm really
Very
excited.
cool, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm happy for you.
Thank
and now you can also get your Hammer Jiu-Jitsu shirts at fighttape.us.
Yeah, a handful of the shirts are up. I kind of curtailed it down a little bit, made it a little more niche.
Okay.
But yeah, all the stuff's
All right.
up there.
Very, very cool. Don't forget to like, comment, save, share, click that subscribe button. We appreciate all your support. Joining us in a few minutes is going to be Cris Rodriguez. She's the founder of GoPro Agency, and she's actually the former owner and founder of Gracie Pack MMA up in Tampa, Florida. One quick shout out, and we'll bring her in. Just Academy Safe. I'm just going to mention that we're going to probably talk a little bit more about it, probably with Cris, because I think I know she works with Maya and is going to be at MayaCon, but we should be at MayaCon. We're still talking to them about a table, so we'll be represented there. I just spoke to Flow and Roll. We're going to be represented at Jiu-Jitsu Con.
Oh, that's awesome.
In Las Vegas, and he actually invited me out as well, so I might head out that way. I don't know what you're doing around that time.
Tell me when it is.
Academysafe.org. If you don't know who we are, Academy Safe is a nonprofit whose mission is to help clean up the martial arts by advocating for background checks, U.S. Center for Safe Sport certifications, and concussion training for all coaches and staff members at every academy throughout the United States and Canada. Ooh. We're working with an international karate organization, which has academies here in the United States and Canada. So we're working on what that's going to look like to start getting them onboarded. So really cool. And then they might be the first country that we expand into.
That'd be awesome.
Ooh,
Getting big.
Super excited. So there are 5 other things that we ask academies to do, like have security cameras, make sure and verify their business insurance. We are checking their lineage. Send us your certificate. We want to see a picture of you with your coach. Give us name, email, phone number of the person that promoted you. Like, we're checking all of that stuff. As you know, Rob from McDojo is our executive VP. That part is absolutely what he's been doing for a long time, outing people who don't actually have the credentials that they say they do. So that's just one of the things on our list of 8 different things that people have to do. But you can go check that out yourself at academysafe.org. You can click on Register My Academy and go through the process today.
And you should.
You could be a coach or an owner. Your owner doesn't have to, your boss doesn't have to sign up to get you signed up and then get your academy listed. We wouldn't give them an accreditation until the owner and all of the staff members, anyone over 18. So from the guy that might pick up kids in the van, for an after school program, right through all of the coaches. Really want to kind of change the game. We know we probably don't have to go into it too much. If you know jiu-jitsu and you're listening to us, you've probably heard kind of about the things that have happened, especially in Florida. So we won't go too far into that, but we want to clean this industry up. We want to make sure that we're keeping our kids, our wives, just everyone safe. Wives, girlfriend, you know my story with my gym. So we have to say wives, girlfriend, and ex-wives. We want to keep them all safe from creepy coaches. But again, check us out at academysafe.org. And again, you'll be able to check us out at MayaCon July 19th and 20th, and then at Jiu-Jitsu Con at the end of of August. So we're going to have some nice things there. We're going to have banners. We're going to be giving away T-shirts. We're going to do some cool stuff. Once again, let's bring Cris in. Cris.
What's up, guys?
Thank you for joining us again. This is your second visit with us. Thank you so much for doing this again. How you doing? How's everything been?
Yeah, I'm honored to get the invite back. The first one didn't suck then.
No, it did not. No, it did not. And like we were saying before, I love geeking out on marketing talk. Whenever I could talk to somebody that reinforces the things that I've been saying to clients, and I can send them this video, be like, it's I have this experience with my ex-wife where I would tell her something and then she wouldn't believe me until her sister told her the same thing, right? So I have that experience with clients, where you tell them something and then they're like, sure, yeah, whatever. And then they hear it from somebody else and 2 months later they come back like it was their own idea. Yeah. So anytime I get an opportunity to speak with people in this world and even coach people that have tried things and succeeded or failed, it's always fun. I'm a little bit of at least in my little part of the world, my little niche of marketing, I'm a little bit of a dork with it. I like to learn. But always a pleasure speaking to you. I feel like I see you every day, Cris, because my feed is my feed is GoPro agency. It is that you're speaking at my icon, so I'm seeing all that stuff, which I actually love it. I'm liking all that stuff, so obviously it's feeding me more. But tell us a little bit about what you have going on right now. Maybe we could talk a little bit about MyIcon too, since it's coming next month. You will be speaking at MyIcon, is that right?
I will, yeah. I've got 3 different sessions coming up at MyIcon. One all about AI. Another is really for program directors and like the A to Z of what marketing responsibilities should be in the hands of the program director. Maybe you call it front desk admin, whoever's basically at the front desk. We just utilize the terminology program director. And then I'm going to wrap everything up with an action roadmap. I think one of the biggest struggles is when you go to these events, especially something like MyIcon, it's 2 days, there's 3 tracks. So there's like 3 sessions going on every hour. It's so much information and, it can feel very overwhelming. So I always wrap up the end with a roadmap of, okay, let's write down your major takeaways. Let's write down those major action steps so that when you get home, it's not life got in the way. It's now you just need to execute on that. So very excited for MyIcon. I think it's awesome that we'll get to see you guys there as well. Yeah,
I'm trying to beat them up on price a little bit on the table. They've made me an offer. Yeah. We're a nonprofit. Could you help us? They actually have, I don't want to put their business out there, but they've been really great and they're having a back and forth conversation about what it's going to look like. So
doesn't hurt to ask. I think that's where the lesson is right there.
They made an offer on the way that we can do things, and they're considering, okay, we're a nonprofit. We're a relatively new nonprofit. Most of the money's coming out of my pocket or out of the pocket of Black Belt Digital Marketing. So, I would like for it to be able to fully cover its own expenses with stuff like this, so that we can fly out and do stuff and take care of hotels for MyIcon and for Rob coming out and things like that. So we're getting there.
I don't think there's any place better that you could sponsor. There's very few martial arts conferences where you're going to have 500 plus school owners and employees, and this is the ideal, clientele for you.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The U.S. Open is going on that weekend, which, regardless if you do jiu-jitsu or some other style of martial art, like, I get really bothered when the jiu-jitsu people trash on the traditional martial arts and can't respect it for what it is. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not talking about the fake, martial artists. I'm talking about, these athletes that get out there and perform at the U.S. Open and just being able to appreciate it for what it is. It's like, no, that is not going to work in a fight, but that looks pretty freaking cool. So it's a great weekend,
You started with kickboxing or taekwondo? Taekwondo. Yeah. All right. So I apologize for any funny meme I've ever posted that on Jiu-Jitsu Dummies that took shots at any other martial arts disciplines. It's just fun. It's like tongue in cheek. I am very much more careful with what I post because of Academy Safe. I don't want to feel like, you know, we don't respect the
Don't
arts.
put a muzzle on yourself.
I tell people all the time, jiu-jitsu, you know this, you're a black belt. Jiu-jitsu practitioners are the bougiest of martial art. We are we're so much better than everyone else. I mean, that's just been ingrained since the day I started. But I did start at an academy where we did Muay Thai and jiu-jitsu. So
is it not insane to either of you that there are companies where a basic kimono is like $450?
In what?
Jiu-jitsu. It's the only one. Shoyo rolls are selling for like $400 and $500.
Oh my God, I wouldn't ever pay that much for a kimono.
My wife bought me a $200 gi for my birthday, and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm gonna get sweaty and blood on this. Just
not for nothing. I've honestly haven't. I'm not even going to say the price that I've paid for gis, but because we work with Flow and Roll, most of the time I'm getting them as part of the sponsorship, so they're free. And then I have a deal with him, if I want to give one away to a friend or something, or hey, can you send me a couple? We worked out just a cost covering price for him.
But I don't think Flow and Roll is putting out a $400 kimono.
No, that's ridiculous. Chris, did you ever pay $400 for a gi? I don't even know that I didn't even know they went that high.
Yeah, my first Shoyo gi. I felt pretty dope in it. I got to admit.
Yeah.
I'm feeling fancy right now, and you got a lot of compliments. I mean, this is many, many years ago.
I don't think
they were
anybody
first
cares
just
now.
kind of coming out, but yeah, no, that's kind of that is kind of ridiculous. But it's the same reason why people buy Louis Vuitton bags. I mean, it's you're buying the brand. You're buying the status is what you're buying. You're not buying the material.
I always figure I was doing my own stuff. So when I get a gi, if I want to make it fancy, I'm not buying a $300 gi, but I'll take the gi to an embroidery shop and I'll have something put in the back. Okay, cool. That's at least yours.
Yeah. No, I was, my first 2 years of jiu-jitsu, my coach gave me he was 265. So when he was a little bit younger, he was a little bit smaller, but he was he was short, but 265. So he was really, it was wide.
Thick.
But we both wore A3s, and every gi that I had, he gave me. I still have them, and I still every once in a while would give one away. But every gi I had, I never bought a gi. And then second school, out of respect, I bought the school's gi, even though we weren't required to wear it. Usually about $125.
Yeah.
And then again, then we started launched the podcast, started working with Flow and Roll, and they were giving us. Giving us gis, or they're giving me gis. So I've never really been oh God, that's too I've never had to do that. And every once in a while, if I've had to do a giveaway and I wasn't working with Flow and Roll, they couldn't send something out. Yeah. I'll just go to Amazon and send a $50, $60 gi to somebody. Yeah. So
when I first started, there was only 2 companies.
Hey Daniel, let's can we do the 3-way cut so that Chris sees us? We don't want to have her out too much when we're speaking. Yeah, that feels a little bit better.
Yeah, but when I started, it was 01, 02, and there was tatami and atama, and that was it.
Yeah.
You didn't have choices.
Yeah.
But you had weaves.
Atama was that was my blue atama gi. That was my jam. That's what I went to. Super simple, old school. Love it.
I never went for I was this. The only time I was really super into a brand was, do you remember the DOM belts?
No.
It was a really, really thick jiu-jitsu belt. And it was one, when you tied it, for whatever reason, just it didn't come off all of the other belts. They just you know how you're rolling. Mm-hmm. It would just stay on. But it was probably, I want to say, close to maybe it felt like a belt and a half thickness. And that was the only time I was I got to have a Dom belt. My coach even had told me, he's listen, I got you the cheap belt from overseas. He's if you want to buy one and you want to invest one and stuff, go to Dom. And I did. And it was just that. But I never had a real tie to a brand until Flow and Roll. And then, they've been supporting us for so long. I'm just so comfortable in their gis. I know their gis. And you worked with, I don't know if you still do anything with them, or at least Gracie Pack, right? You worked with Flow and Roll.
They do our swag for Growpro now.
Oh, okay.
I love and I get so many compliments when I wear it to
yeah, seeing you in the videos, definitely, right? You have the, I usually see you if you're wearing the spats, you have the Flow and Roll down the side.
Yeah, we use them at Gracie Pack. I mean, I think they're one of the best companies in terms of graphics. I think that's one of the big struggles for, a lot of school owners. But just the quality as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting really good quality, the spats, they're thick.
Yeah.
They're not, like thin material.
Yeah.
But I love their hoodies, what they do, whether it's the zip up, the pullover, really great company.
Do they do your designs for you?
So yeah, they'll do so this was the thing with Flow and Roll. We've been working with them since we started. So it's 6 years. I literally hung up the phone in the car with Sean and came in here. So usually like I'll ring him on the way here so that we can talk. We're always talking about business and always just what can we be doing together? How much more could we be doing? And it's always funny because our businesses, even though they're different, we're like we seem to be in the same place at the same time. He's growing. He's been bringing in family. He's got like assigning like jobs to like his sons. Like they're very much involved with the business now, which is great. I have my daughter. So like things always align and we're like, oh, I did this and do this and say this. But forget about the fact that we work with him. I've had plenty of other like rash guards and things like that. They're like, I wear an XL in t-shirts. I wear an XL in most rash guards. A lot of the rash guards though that I get, I'm big, I still have my belly, and every other rash guard, like, okay, it fits me on the top, but then it's too tight in the middle. It's usually the ones that are like from India, Pakistan, like, people do it themselves.
20-year-old being mean to you?
It's really, it's really tight in the middle. It's the one that's not tight around my middle. And like, it doesn't look like I got my gut hanging out. And I always love them. I will buy others like to support people, but usually I wind up giving them away on the show. But I'm pretty much always in a Flow and Roll at least their rash guard.
I really got to connect with this guy. Yeah. You guys are speaking so highly of him.
So I was going to say, right. And Cris has been around for a long time in this world. Most of the brands, the name was the graphic. Like they weren't really going like crazy with the graphics. And what Flow and Roll did was, no, the graphic, I'm going to like include my logo and my name in it maybe, but the graphic is always something really cool. They did a King Tut shirt back in the day and like designs that he still sells. We just did, we just talked about printing it. We did, I gave him a concept and it was, it says Jiu-Jitsu hobbyist, but then it's a big freaking gorilla. Like a gorilla, like, it's the hobbyist, but there's some big freaking dude that trains twice a week and he's like, ridiculously strong, right? So I just love putting like that hobbyist together with like, he's still the baddest guy in the gym kind of feel. Mm-hmm. So we have that, it's done, it's completed, and he's gonna start printing it and he's gonna sell it. It has like our logo and his logo on it. So it has the podcast logo on it. And he's just like, hey, I'm gonna print it and I'm gonna start selling it at the event. So, but it's the design, and then it says, it's like the Nike swoosh, right? It's like his logo's on it, but it's about the design.
Yeah.
So
his logo's hidden almost, like it's within.
That's what I feel is really cool about anything that he's done. Is what I liked about the graphics. I have 5 rows of t-shirts, probably at least maybe 2.5 to 3 feet tall in my closet of just all t-shirts, mostly from him, just over. It's very hard to part with my t-shirts.
Man, I'm just gonna say this: a brand really knows they made it when you start seeing your stuff in like Goodwill.
Yeah.
Now it's gone through generations of existence.
That's why I love their stuff, though, because of the designs. The designs are not just like, oh, let me just like, he has his products that are about him, but he has so many things that are just like the graphics are really cool, fun, funny in some cases, and then it just happens to have the Flow and Roll logo on it as well. So hats off to Sean and his crew. I'm like so happy to see his growth, and we're always talking. We're actually like we'll do like a couple of posts for him. We design a couple of posts every week just about him. It's usually he sends us the designs of like the latest design he did with an academy, and then we turn it into a post. So we'll show like the rash guards, the top, the shorts. Maybe they did a gi, put the gym logo on it. It's like we do it for him, but then it's like added value for that academy. So that's the purpose of it. I'm posting it here, but he's featuring them and their logo, the work that he did for them. So we've been doing that for a couple of years for him now. So, yeah, so it's really cool. But yeah, love their designs. He's really cool. Cris, I'm super, super curious about, like, I see you in all the Myacon stuff. I see you always speaking. If I can ask, are you like an employee? Are you on a board? Are they just bringing you in? Like, are you part of Maya? I just honestly don't know.
Yeah, so I became a client of Maya back in 2015. I was looking for, a mentor. I went to one of their success seminars that was local here in Tampa, that was ran by Frank Silverman, who's the executive director of Maya. And, it was just one of those moments where you realize, okay, I'm in the right room. And I joined and, was a client for many, many years. And one of the things that Maya really lacked was having a consultant on the team that understood the digital world. And they saw how quickly Gracie Pack was growing. They asked me, how are you doing that? I said, we're doing it through Facebook ads and Google ads. And they knew that that kind of puzzle piece was missing from the team. So I was a client for 4 years. And then in 2019, they asked me to come on as a consultant. I'm a 1099 contractor for them. So I handle all of really the advertising for Maya. So when you see all of the Maya ads out and about, that's what my responsibility is. But I am also a consultant for Maya clients. I don't take one-on-ones. So all the other Maya consultants, they do one-on-one sessions with the Maya clients. I don't do that, but I am there. So if a Maya client, we've got a couple of hundred of them, if they have questions about digital marketing or just marketing in general, they can book a call with me. They can reach out to me. So I'm there as a resource, and I speak at all of the events as well. So it's it's a beautiful relationship that became because I was a client of Maya, and they saw how well Gracie Pack was growing through digital marketing, and they wanted to bring me on the team to bring that value to the rest of the clients inside of Maya. And I think that's really what kind of differentiates Maya from a lot of the other consulting companies out there. There's a lot, but Maya does those one-on-ones. And just like a private lesson in jiu-jitsu, like nothing's going to get you, faster, better than that one-on-one attention to be able to really hone in on improving your specific game. You still got to go and roll, right? You still need teammates to get good. And that's where, the mastermind component of Maya Elite comes in, because there are hundreds of other school owners, and Maya has really been well known in the traditional martial arts scene. And I was one of the first BJJ schools that came in. I was running my own consulting called the A Team, which was just for BJJ school owners. And when I decided to no longer do that, because I just had too much on my plate, I brought a lot of those BJJ schools over to Maya. And now there's a good amount of BJJ schools in Maya. We have a BJJ consultant, Jason Patino, who runs Champions Jiu-Jitsu. And there are a ton of BJJ, schools that are a part of it, which is really great as well.
Very cool. Very cool. You're a Maya member? Are you also a Growpro?
So I started with Growpro maybe going on 3 years ago now. I hadn't done any marketing before that because every penny I had put into marketing was an absolute flop. Like $500 ad spend over 2 weeks with 0 leads, like absolute flop. And I saw Cris online a lot, and I've been friends with Jason Patino for quite a few years. And I kind of called him. I was like, tell me about Cris. And, he sang her praises quite highly. And then I just followed up with her. I believe I might have met you at a Maya convention. Mike has allowed me to come to 1 or 2 of them as a guest. And we might have crossed paths there. But, like, the proof was in the pudding, man.
Yeah.
I think my first 6 months with GrowPro, I increased by, like, 20%.
Yeah.
I was averaging, like, 20 or 30 leads, and, like, 25 would show up, in that first 2 years. I had a rough patch in the middle, but, kind of everyone did. And the last 2 months, I had 56 leads in May, and 28 of them came through.
Wow. Are you like Cris? I know that I've seen it. I don't know that that's what they do for. Forgive me for not knowing this part, but not only do you get the leads, are you with every client? Do you also you make sure you get the lead to show up, or you're following up with the lead, or is that something that you do? How does that work?
Yeah, we offer it as an add-on service. It's not a requirement. So it's called our Concierge Agent Service, fancy name for appointment setting. But it's an add-on because not every school owner needs it, right? If you have a full-time program director, or if you as the school owner want to follow up with the leads, we don't force you. I do think it's, one of our best add-ons because we only charge $500 a month for it, and you have an agent that's following up with the leads Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, 7 touch points, calls, text, emails. And these are US based callers. So my agents live here in Tampa, Florida. They come into the office. This isn't something I'm outsourcing to a VA in Pakistan. And then they also do confirmation calls. So once they book the appointment, they will also confirm that the appointment is coming in. And if it doesn't, which, that happens, then they will reschedule the appointment. So it is an offer, but it's an add-on. It's not a requirement.
It's my favorite add-on.
I was going to say that's probably I know that the hardest part is, I've been very close to the owners of my academies. I've helped them with some of their marketing, or they'd ask me a lot of questions, so I was in tune with what was going on, and I think that was probably the biggest problem when they're running ads. Was like, I'm running ads and people are calling and they're saying they're going to come in, but then they don't show.
Yeah. Like, my whole thing is like I'm weak on that side. I am a teacher. I'm not a salesperson. It's not my strong suit. But I can have a sales concierge that'll do 80% of it. Once you're in the door, I'm pretty solid. It's the, hi, is Jim there? That part I'm just not good with.
And it's you get overloaded. We were talking a little bit before, and I forget what parts we talked about before, Chris. So if I'm I think we talked about this before we started recording, but we're talking about like being able to like pass along certain tasks to somebody. You can't. Oh, I'm going to share a video that I just shared with Sean from Flow and Roll on the way here. It was something that I sent my daughter that I'm trying to make her understand. Like, you have to be able to pass along certain tasks. And she admittedly said, she's like, oh, I'm such a control freak. And I'm like, you heard yourself say it. Don't be a control freak, because I am, but I'm giving you stuff. I'm passing things to you, and you have to be able to figure out, is this for me, or do I pass this along to my assistant? Yeah. What should I be doing? What should I be doing? I'm telling you, I'm trying to give you the easier job. My job is easier than yours. My job is easier than working with the designer, creating the social media post, posting the social media post, making sure we're inviting people to collab, blah, 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 all that stuff. Now I got to write blogs. Okay, we got to post the blogs. I want you to manage the people that are doing that. I want you to just make sure manage the managers, I always say. So the fact that she admitted it, admitted that she's a control freak, was like the first step, right? You have a problem, and now she's like, oh, I have to do that. And one of the things that we did too was she likes to write everything down. So she's like, she mentioned to me the other day, she's like, I've got 3 pages of tasks to do. And I said, where is that electronically? Where is that in the computer? We have a task. We have 2 different task managers, one in Google and one in our CRM. I'm like, you're not using either of those? No. And I'm like,
I like paper.
That has to change. And she moved everything at least into an Excel spreadsheet for her, which is just like your task. Yeah. She's going to come. I'm going to get her. She's got to use one of our task managers.
What do you guys use to log, like, I guess the work? You're a front desk person. What are you using to track how many calls are going out? Who are they going out to? Is it a follow-up? Is it a sales call? Is it a check-in? Is it a progress check? You know what I mean?
So do you work with it? Do you have a CRM?
I have a CRM.
Do you use Kicksite?
No, I use my studio.
Okay.
So it has it'll assign tasks, but like it doesn't have like the tracking component. Like, hey, I need you to make 10 follow-up calls today. I'd like to see who you called, what you called them about, and what successes we did or didn't have.
Sure. So, I mean, usually that's going to be something that's in the CRM. The CRM should have that component. If it doesn't, Chris can chime in here with, is there something that you use or you're familiar with?
Yeah. So, a lot of the martial arts CRMs are really great for customer relationship management, right? The inventory aspect, the point of sale, you have all your contacts in there. You can email them, you can text them, you can put them on automations. They have belt ranking, right? So when somebody gets stripes or belts, you can log that. What I found is that most of them do not or are not great at the prospecting aspect of the customer journey. So, where the lead is, from first point of contact, did I call them once, twice? Did they get this email? Did they get that text message? So they lack that, but what they also lack is project management. And Ben, that's really what you're looking for, is some form of project management platform. And, I think for most martial arts schools, the typical ones that like marketing agencies, like, I would use like ClickUp, Asana, Monday, Trello. Those are just kind of like rocket launchers for an anthill. I don't really know if it would be 100% necessary. We did not use a project management platform at Gracie Pack. everything was really just housed in our Google Drive using Word documents and spreadsheets. So
That's
like
what I was
a lot
thinking.
of the KPI tracking was just in Google spreadsheets.
Mhm.
But if you are looking for something a little bit more robust for task management, then really what you're looking at is a project management platform.
Yeah.
And I just named a whole bunch of them.
My
for you.
wife uses
Milton, what do
Monday.
you guys? Yeah,
So,
okay, cool.
so we have, I don't like to give the name. We have a CRM. We have a CRM that we use that's specific to marketing companies. It's meant for a marketing company like mine. It also, no, I don't use Go High Level. I'll say if I use Vendasta. You familiar with Vendasta? Vendasta is our CRM. You know, it has our name on it. People can like log in and see their reporting, and it all says Black Belt all over it. The beauty of Vendasta is not the task management side, which they're working on, which I've had many complaints about. But the beauty of it is like, I don't have to, let's say if a client is going to move forward on a website with me, I ran a marketing company before where I had a web design team. Well, I don't have to have the web design team. I book the order, I manage it. We design the way the website's going to look, but then they have a web developer that puts it together for us. Right. So I don't have to have that guy on staff. It's, I may pay a little cost per project, and then really they're absorbing the cost through my month, or the monthly fee that I pay for it. They have a task man. They have actually 2 task management systems in there, which is confusing. But there's a task management system that they use from the client level, from like me as the marketing company. I can use one task manager, and then it's a separate one that they use with us to say like, hey, we're doing this task for you.
Welcome to a new age in wellness, healing, and recovery. Leheal Biogenix is at the forefront of new and natural methods of treatment. Friendly staff will take you through the process comfortably and help you optimize your body, heal injuries, and recover from physical stress and traumas. From red light therapy, laser treatment, to peptides, and much more. Check out Leheal.com. Be your best. Get Leheal. Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
Unlock the power of your online presence with Black Belt Digital Marketing. Their reputation management program ensures your Google business profile seen by more potential customers. Black Belt Digital Marketing is your full-service digital marketing agency specializing in local SEO and reputation management. Boost your business today. Visit bbdigitalmarketing.com. Your success is their priority.
I don't like it. It doesn't allow you to assign. Until recently, it didn't allow you to assign a task. So, hey, Ben, I need you to do this. So I assign the task and send it to the manager. What I really don't like about it is it doesn't send you any email alerts. It doesn't give you any type of alert that a task was completed. You'd have to actually keep one window on your computer with, at me as the owner, I want to see everybody's tasks. And it just wasn't working for us. I need an email that says this task is complete. And then I know, like, it's a reminder to me to go in. There was no reminder in the system. Like, this is crazy. I love the platform, but I've actually told them, I go, I don't feel like you have anybody who's run an agency advising your team on how this should be structured. They recently took a sales side of their CRM with the client, me as the client, or they call it a partner, and they've put it all together. So they're starting to go down that path of, why do we have everything separated, right? Let's put everything together. There was literally like 2 CRMs in one. So I don't like their task management system. I do what Cris just said. For me as the owner, I very much have almost always used my Google Calendar as my task manager. There's a task management system. There's literally like, let me add this as a task, or I can add it as like a calendar appointment. Yeah. So I kind of just color code, this is a task, this is a meeting I have to be at, right? So like today's podcast, it said scheduled Cris Rodriguez episode 170, right? I know I have to be there. It's color coded gray. I know I have to be at that meeting. And then like tasks, based on like if I have like a client, I have to do something for a client. Clients are purple, prospects are green for money, right? Prospect. Hey. So I've done that. I know that it's not ideal. I've used like platforms like Salesforce before, and that was probably the best, but they don't have the integrations with like the softwares that we implement for clients. So things like, reporting to directories, posting to social media, we get all of that. So it's great for that. They're working on their task management system, so it gets better and better. So for you though, I don't know a lot of the platform because I don't have a lot of martial arts, clients. I have just a handful.
My thought was to actually use Excel because you can have multiple tabs and this one's calls, this one's whatever.
You say Excel. Do you have a Gmail at all?
Right?
Gmail. So you're using Workspace. You could probably graduate to using Workspace so that you can it could be Ben or your Allison's your wife, like Allison at and then ATT. Palm Beach Gardens, whatever your domain is, right? You should really be emailing from that first of all. But if you graduate to Workspace, whether you have a free Gmail or you do the Workspace, you still get all of those tools. You get the sheets and you get the docs and all that stuff. So, and you get the calendar. Everybody's got the calendar. But I would graduate to Workspace. Take that opportunity to graduate. I don't know. Are you using a Ben at ATT?
Yeah, I have
PBG.com.
I have a Gmail just for the gym, which is what Alice uses.
But graduate to actually it being your domain for your website. It just looks a little bit more professional.
What do you mean?
Like mine is Milton at bbdigitalmarketing.com.
Oh no, I have
Milton at Gmail,
I have gym emails. Yeah,
okay. Yeah. So use your gym email, but you can host that through Workspace and then use the entire Google platform.
Okay.
Right. So I can show you this later.
Cool.
But I would do that. I would graduate to that so that it's the cost is nominal, and then use Sheets, but I can show you the way I use my calendar, and it's ideal. And I know why you're asking because you have somebody else that's doing it. You want to be able to kind of keep an eye on what that person's doing.
Well, yeah, I want to see what my sales lady's doing. I want to know that my coaches are, hey, we cleaned the mat before, mark it off. We're doing this now, mark it off.
Yeah, I mean, again, like Chris said, like spreadsheets are ideal. I don't know. I always thought I have no affiliation with Kicksite whatsoever, but I always felt like I thought that Kicksite definitely handled the client experience. Is that Chris? Are you familiar with Kicksite at all?
I've personally never been inside a Kicksite. We've got a lot of clients that utilize them.
Sure.
At the end of the day, the issue is that these CRM companies are not project management companies, and for many of them, they've steered away from that. There's a reason why project management companies are so successful. Really, for a martial arts school owner, I agree. Google Workspace, definitely want to have your email from your own domain. At the end of the day, it's what works best for you and your team. If we're going to go into the conversation of productivity, I think, there's arguments that for certain people, pen and paper is better. For others, they just want everything accessible through their phone, right? Or through the cloud. For other people, they'll say Evernote is the only app you should use for productivity. At the end of the day, it's whatever makes the most sense for you and your team is what I would lean into. Ben, what I think you're really looking for as a school owner, and this is what I would recommend implementing, would be an end-of-day report. We just call it an EOD. And our program director and our instructors are responsible at the end of their shift to submit their end-of-day report. And within that end-of-day report has the specific KPIs that we want them, submitting information on. So how many leads came in? How many calls did you make? How many appointments did you, book? How many appointments showed? How many did you close, right? So those are like the important KPIs. For the instructor, it could be like, what was the attendance like? Did you nominate anybody for your upgrade programs? Were there any injuries? And for me as an offsite owner, that end of day really gave me an understanding of what were the outputs, right? What was the effort that was made by my team during the day? And we actually use Slack for their end of day reports. So there's a workflow, they click a button and it'll say like, okay, what was the attendance? And they plug that in. Were there any injuries? And they plug that in. And then just at the end of the day, I would get a Slack message that has that overview with all of the end of day, KPIs. My program director, while she was sitting at the front desk, she was just using pen and paper to track that. Like, I don't care how you track it as long as it is being tracked. And that's why I say, like, for some people, pen and paper just might be more natural versus using a spreadsheet versus whatever. But I would definitely consider implementing some form of an end of day report so that okay, these were the outputs that happened today.
Okay.
So I currently use Slack, but we've been migrating over to GChat. GChat, again, is part of your Google and Workspace. It's just there. Again, I think it's even available on the free model. But like if you really wanted to scale it up and add channels, you might have to graduate to to using Google Workspace. But I'm migrating over. It has everything that I use on Slack. GChat has. There's only one feature that it doesn't have is when I do a voice recording, which I know Chris loves voice recordings, by the way.
Bro, don't
Really? Oh, they're the best. They're the best.
No, they're not. They're only good for the sender.
We're gonna
good for the receiver.
We're gonna talk about it because she said so. I think I might have even sent her one or two because I just always use them.
Yeah.
And then I forget where you said it. So I don't think it was on our podcast, but you said it. And I was like,
oh, should I real?
I sent her. Yeah, I was like, oh man, I sent her.
It's freaking rude. I'm sorry. It is so rude because I don't know what's gonna come out of your mouth in that voice memo. And if I've got my 5-year-old son right here, so okay, now I either got to go get my headphones, right? I can read it, and this is what I just don't understand. Just do talk to text. You talk to text, and now
I always have to correct it too much, though.
So here's the best of both worlds. Instagram is not the best messenger, but it's good. And now they automatically transcribe your voice messages because you can just hit it and it'll show it to you. So it is the best of both worlds there. My thing is,
GChat does that too now. I think Slack might do that as well.
That's
so
great.
If you record yourself, you could just
because then you can read it if you need to. You can listen if you want to. And then, man, listening on 1.5 or 2x speed. Oh,
yeah.
I have some friends who like to talk.
Hey, am I one of them?
No,
No.
no. We're talking 4 5-minute messages in a row.
Yeah.
And like, dude, I can't even respond.
So,
like,
the only feature that GChat doesn't have is that if I do record a message, I can't then at the employee like Slack does. For some reason, so I usually have to then send at them right in the next message. It's just strange where normally you can on Slack you can record the message or video and then also type. If you record something, you can't type into that field. It puts the message. Okay. So then I have to send a second message. So that's the only thing that I found that I don't like about it. But I am with my employees. You're going to have to deal with my voice messages, but they should be, I'm sending it to them in GChat. They should be working. You know what? The one course that I kicked myself for not taking when I was a kid was typing. I am the slowest type. I could type really fast with one finger on each, but I can't type. I never learned. I've tried. Back in the day, I got the CD-ROM to help you learn how to type, and I just never did. But I got really fast. I called myself a pecker.
You wouldn't be able to work at Growpro because we have a typing assessment as a part of our hiring process.
My old company did as well, but only to production staff, not for the salespeople.
What are your minimums? Like 40 a minute?
43 is the average in America. So for us, it's like, all right, if they're around 40, that's okay. I'm 110 words per minute.
No kidding.
If somebody's
how's
40,
your accuracy?
I'm literally I played the piano and I took typing. So
okay, got it. Yeah.
That's really helpful. If I'm at 110 and you're at 40, I'm literally producing twice as much as you can in that same period of time.
But there you go. I send as many voice messages as possible. I was showing you that this is a spreadsheet that we use. These are all of my clients that I have to do a monthly or quarterly report for. So I'm using Sheets to remind me when I have to do that, right? We're even using it for Academy Safe for our members and when something is due. So it gives us a reminder so you could program it to do certain things, right? But I do messages all day long. Whenever I can, I just do a message. If I'm driving, I'll do the voice message, send it. I find that if I do the voice to text, though, I'm fixing 20 different, I'm wind up, changing 20 different things. Or if I send it, it doesn't make sense. So for me, but ever since I saw your reel, I never considered what the other person felt on the other side when I did it for client, because I did it for clients as well. So now when I communicate with clients, I am more likely to either just type it out or do a voice to text. But we do our reports or video reports. So the monthly and quarterly reports we send to clients, we'll send them the report. Here's your report. Click here to see your report. but I'm gonna do a video review, so it's my head in the corner and
Yeah.
using Loom to record a video, right? So they like that because they almost never go into the reports. We can see who goes in, they don't go in. They more likely will watch the video.
Definitely.
So I'm used to that. But ever since I saw Chris's that reel that she put out after she was on the podcast, I'm like, how many times did I send her a voice message before we came on? And
I'm just now to the point where I'll just type back to them and I'll let them know I don't listen to voice messages. So
Yeah.
if it's that important, type it up.
Yeah.
I mean, typically if you're reaching out, it's because you want something. So if you want my time, this is the expectation.
I totally respect it. I never considered the other side. From the client side, I will, again, I'll try to do a video. If they were asking me, like, how do I do this? And I have to show them the steps, then I just record the video. And I actually will text it to them. We have our clients, like, very much in tune with texting with us. Like, the whole staff is in one text chain with each client. And but I've stopped, when I have to send a message, I have stopped sending them to clients because now I didn't consider, like, I'm sending it to them because I want to make it easy for them to listen to and to take action on. But I never considered, okay, what if they're on a job site? What if they are with somebody else? What if they're with their kid? Well, and they like, I don't want to listen to this right now, but they will open it up and read it.
True.
So I didn't consider that from client side. My employees, they got to deal with it. They got to hear my voice. Sometimes I want them to hear, like, where I'm, like, certain things I'm emphasizing. But I will again also send a video. But my staff is great, so I don't have to, like, beat them up too much. But I'm looking for ease. And because I'm not a very, very fast typer. I'm pretty good like this, but I'm not super fast. I don't know how many words I could type a minute. I'm pretty fast, but do you know how happy I was when ChatGPT and Gemini, like, even on your computer, they added, like, the voice, you can voice to text. I love that. I'm like, I just could use that and then copy and paste it if I needed to, or ask what I need.
Definitely.
Because sometimes, like, what the prompt is, like, okay, I really want to be elaborate on this prompt of what I'm asking. I was like, oh, this is amazing. I don't understand why. I know that there have been programs in the past, but there still isn't, like, a really good email voice to text program. Do you know what I mean, Chris?
Yeah.
Like, speak it, like, if I can speak it and it go into the ChatGPT window, it should be able. Yeah, she doesn't need to. I'm always looking for just, like, easy. And again, for the employees, I have to do it.
Do you type or do you swipe?
On the phone, no, I'll type out too. Or I'll do talk to text. Like, that's probably what I do more, would be talk. If it's a longer message, talk to text. Also because I like doing a lot of work when, like, I'm on the treadmill. And it's just kind of difficult to, like, be on the treadmill and type at the same time. So I'll do talk to text. Like this morning, we and I'll circle this back to where this conversation kind of started. We're getting our garage floors redone, and we're kind of just leveling up, like, our in-house gym, and we're getting, like, all custom cabinetry. So everything had to come out of the garage, right? And I hired somebody off TaskRabbit. It's like $44 an hour. And I wanted to make sure that he had good instructions because I was going to be leaving to come into the office today. So I'm just on the treadmill and I'm just doing talk to text in the, TaskRabbit app, giving him all of the instructions. And, the reason why I bring this up is because we kind of started this conversation about, Ben not wanting to be the one to follow up with, the leads. And I think for, business owners that are listening to this, like, $1 million companies are not built off of $10 tasks. And Ben, as the CEO, needs to be focusing in his zone of genius. And maybe that's, him being on the mat teaching, not following up with the leads. And that's, I sent a picture, the guy from TaskRabbit. He was there an hour and a half, cleaned out the entire gym. And I mean, we've got a gym, we've got a sauna, we got treadmill. There was, probably like 900 pounds worth of weights this guy had to move. Yeah. I kind of felt bad. Hour and a half done. And it cost me $88. Wow. Like, imagine if I would have been so pissed. It's like 90 degrees outside here in Florida. And, I think the best business owners, recognize that you really should be learning how to buy back your time in the things that you don't want to do or the things that you're not good at. Because $1 million companies aren't built on the CEO doing, $10 per hour tasks.
I don't know if you've seen Ben's stuff. I've talked about Ben's stuff, and I have no reason to kiss his ass at all about this or constantly bring this up.
It's a great ass.
He does an amazing job at creating, like, a content, like, I call it, like, the 1 minute instructional. you've got a great system. I know that, Cris, you're part of that crew up there in that Tampa area, like Matt Arroyo, Robbie,
Kevin Gallagher.
Yeah. I'm seeing what Uncle Kevin, right? They call him Uncle Kevin.
Kev.
We all work with Leheal as well. So we're all working with Leheal Biogenix up there in Tampa. They're amazing. Actually, but look, it's a good segue. I brought in. They had given me this. My neck has been killing me, and I was like, oh, they gave me a CBD. Let me use it. I've been using this last couple of days. I brought it with me, keeping it in my bag because it's been helping. So amazing company. I got stem cell shots from them. I'm going to start talking about that pretty soon. But actually, just started to actually feel better on my lower back injury that I've had for years.
Sudden, right?
It's like, I was just like, it doesn't
out of nowhere.
It's like out of nowhere. I was like, oh man, nothing's, it hasn't been. And then boom, all of a sudden it's just like, wow, I don't have the same pain, and I'm training as much as I was before. And again, it's been, recurring for years. So I actually can start reporting back. And I was like worried about reporting back, like nothing's happened yet. But they did tell me it's going to take a couple of months.
Takes a little bit.
But they've been amazing, Leheal.com. But they all are working with like the same company. Are you still working with that same company too, Cris, where you guys are putting out the content?
Really well, Kyle Crakey. It's of People Trendy. I did it for about a year. And when I hired him initially, I was very upfront with him because I have a media team here. I have a videographer. And I told him, I'm going to hire you. You're, you claim you can help me with my follower growth. But once I know the system, I'm going to bring this in-house. And I was very upfront with him about that. So we stopped working together, I want to say maybe about 4 or 5 months ago. He's done some project work for me because they just do really, really great work. But, what they focus on are jiu-jitsu artists and helping them grow their online following. And if you have an online product, whether that's a DVD or, an online portal, with a membership access, then it's, a really, really, great thing that you can do. But, there's some people whose follower growth, it just happens a lot slower. Yeah. I was fortunate because we just did some crazy stuff. Matt Arroyo came over to film a couple of videos with me, and it was just going to be business stuff. And he was like, come on, let's do some jiu-jitsu stuff. And I had a suit jacket.
I remember those.
And that went crazy viral because how often, do you see somebody in a suit jacket, a female in a suit jacket, and I'm doing the midget twister. Yeah.
I do remember those.
I saw some pretty explosive growth from that. But yeah.
So now I have a question. It's like a weird question to ask because not everybody always wants to be like super transparent about it. But for you, and especially probably our industry, the marketing industry, did that lead to business for you? Did that growth lead to people being like, hey, I follow you and, I need some help?
Yeah, right? It started with me just focusing on marketing videos. And the issue is that, anybody with a phone can be a marketing guru. And, we specifically work with martial arts schools, and I was getting, views, but not, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of views. And it wasn't really equating to follower growth. And, Matt was like, you got to do the people trendy. And it's like, man, I've done the DVD instructionals. I've filmed this is not an exaggeration, over 1,000 technique videos from warm-ups to drills. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I'm kind of done with that. And he's like, you got to give it a shot. And the kind of mindset behind it, or the strategy, was, okay, I'll start filming these jiu-jitsu videos. The followers I'm going to get, 95% of them are going to be jiu-jitsu practitioners. 5% of them might be school owners. Yeah. And that is exactly, what happened. But I got a lot of followers. I got a lot of really weird followers on top of that. I was like, I need a full-time person just to respond to freaking DMs and comments. Because also I know I don't look like, the average female, and I'm definitely not a female, like, showing off my ass and stuff like that. And, instructionals, like, I think I'm a really great teacher.
Wait, is that something we can do?
Great jiu-jitsu.
Hold on, can I do instructionals in short shorts?
You can wear some Daisy Dukes on the mat?
Here's the thing, I would. I don't know who's going to be my partner, though.
So, but I was going to say, I don't know if you've seen some of his stuff, but he is not doing it the way that like that Tampa crew, I'll just call it the Tampa crew if that's okay, like that Tampa area crew. But
I want to. I'm surprisingly embarrassed to just talk to a camera.
So wait, but I was going to say, number one is I think that your content is, but that's the thing is you're talking to your students. So it's almost, you're not talking directly into the camera, you're talking to the students, and that's where it's, there. I think it has just as much impact. Like, oh, he's really teaching right now. I think that resonates. Does that crew, the company that you mentioned, are they just in that area? Do they go outside, like come down to areas? I mean, because we're like I want to say, you got like Tampa, you've got South Florida, like the meccas of jiu-jitsu.
I met with them at the last
one. Would they come down here?
They were like, since you're in Florida, we'll just drive down for the day. But they were telling me they have clients out of state. So you have their monthly fee plus their flight plus their board while they're out of there.
Okay, there you go. That answers that question. So the thing is, I know that like the way that you're doing it, it's not exactly the way they're doing it. And I know there's things that they do to help with the growth, the follower growth, but I would love to see you be able to take some of like the tips, or you do it the way that you've been doing it, because I think it resonates because it's a little bit different, but it's still the same. Like you're showing a move. I really do like the way that you're doing it. And I think that with a little help from somebody like that, like pros like that, hey, how could you help me make my stuff a little bit better?
I learned a lot actually from Cris when I first got with Growpro. She's like, we need this type of picture, we need this type of video, try to shoot this, try to shoot that. Okay. And I can do pretty much anything, but for some reason, like in this setting, hey, I can look right in the camera and I can talk to it. And I'm super thankful for the content that you guys create, because it does put me in that expert like position. Yeah. But I need to be doing that stuff more specifically, for my gym and for my own branding. Yeah. But for what I run into is like, if you give me a topic, I got you. But coming up with the topic for some reason, to me, is very difficult. And I think it's because who cares about that? Just me. I'm alone.
There's always somebody that cares about that.
Know.
That's the thing.
For some reason, I don't believe it.
You just have to think about the things that you feel like. Start out with the things that you're most passionate about, and I get, you can even use ChatGPT. Give me 50 suggestions, 20 suggestions on ChatGPT understands this world, and you can ask it for things, or kind of take notes when you see other like, oh, I have something similar that I like to do, and I can use that. But again, I really like the way that you do it, and I don't know, like, do you feel like that's had an impact on business at all?
Maybe more so for like the Cutman and the tape than the gym. Yeah. Because I spent so many years in Asia, a very, very large part of my follower base is in Asia. Okay. So like, I would say like 25 to 30% of my views are Singapore, Thailand, and Taiwan. Yeah.
So like, I know, like Cris was saying, like it's hard to relate. I mentioned before that I have an attorney client that wanted us to do like videos like that where she's talking, like, come out and film. I said, we just don't do that. She says, well, why? And I say, because it doesn't really have the impact that you think it's going to have. No. Number one, you're going to get followers.
Brick and mortar businesses, right?
Yeah. So for an attorney, I'm telling her, like, there's a very popular attorney down here called, and I don't know, maybe she's popular outside of the area, called Amanda Demanda. And a lot of the attorneys down here are trying to emulate what she's doing. We're in South Florida, so she does videos in English and in Spanish. And she's very much the personality. Very pretty woman, out there, dinners and movies and concerts, whatever. She's showing like her life, but she's making suggestions, and she's giving like, kind of legal advice and talking about the law. So a lot of other attorneys want to like follow in the footsteps. I'm saying, do you want business? Or do you want to be famous? Like those two things are not the same, right? Do you want business? You have to be doing the local marketing. You have to be doing local service ads, and
you get enough followers that your loyal 1,000, i.e. 1,000 people who will buy a $25 or a $30 t-shirt, becomes your loyal 10,000. And then all you got to do is make social media and print t-shirts.
But go back to what Cris just said. Like she said, number one, like the people that are following her for jiu-jitsu specifically or martial arts, right? The people that are following you, only what you say, 5% of those people actually own a gym and could actually do business with me, because the rest of them are just interested in like the technique, or again, it creepers, people that just hit follow because they just were passing through it and hit follow, or they're trying to increase their followers, so they think like following you and blah blah blah. But again, for an attorney, it's how many of these people are going to be actually in the area who actually need your service? It's not even like a gym where like, I want to go to a gym every day. You only need an attorney when you need an attorney. True. So then like now you whittle it down. And she was a little we're doing her marketing. We're doing her local SEO and her local marketing. And she's doing really well. And she wanted to add that on. When I told her we didn't do it, she was like a little disappointed. Like, if she had to go out and find like a company that could do everything, and we said, go and search, get some quotes, and come back and talk to her.
Totally different business.
$5,000 a month at minimum
Yeah.
to come and film once per month.
Yep.
And she was just like, there's no way I can do that. And I said, well, that's part of the reason why we don't do it. I don't believe in the return on investment, and it's cost prohibitive for most people. She's she's one attorney building her practice. Are you really going to spend $5,000 a month to be popular on Instagram and it not give you any? How long can you go spending $5,000 a month without getting a client?
Yeah.
Like what? And she was like, I can't do it. It's just too expensive. And I said, well, that's why we don't do it. Cost prohibitive. And I think if you do it, you're going to realize that you could have been spending money on ads, on Google ads, social media ads, other things, website SEO.
Yeah. I want people to know who I am. Period.
Same question I ask people when somebody says they want to do a podcast. I say, are you looking because you want to be famous, or are you doing it because you are like really passionate about the message, or you want to make money? Like which one of those three? And none of those answers are necessarily wrong, but you have to know why you're doing it. If it's about money, this is probably not the route to go.
I'm coming for you, Joe Rogan. I'm coming for you.
You know, if you want to be famous, maybe. There were times in the beginning, like the first couple of years, I spent like $2,000 a month for like 6 months advertising the podcast to get it out there, include giving away stuff, giving away shirts and mugs and like I invested in it. I had a good job and I had the disposable income to build it. Once I saw that it took off, then I invested the money, but it wasn't about being famous. It was like, oh wow, this is working. I was really just wanted to record. I was working at another marketing company. There was nothing in it for me otherwise. Now I get marketing clients because of this. I get people that are jiu-jitsu practitioners and they're a dentist, they're an attorney, they're awesome. A pressure washer. Leheal Optics, he owns a pressure washing company. He became a client, right? So like that's what's happened. And I mean, I love talking about jiu-jitsu, but this is one of the reasons why I keep on doing it, because it is a lead generator for us as well. You know, so
I mean, I do believe that the absolute best marketing strategy is to become famous.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
I do believe that. I mean, The Rock, whatever he puts out, I want to put out a tequila. Cool, right?
Yeah.
Kylie Jenner, same thing. But when you own a martial arts school, right? And yes, there are outliers where you have people that will drive 20, 30, 40 miles to your school, but that's not the average, right? The average, depending on the saturation in your market, might be 3 to 5 miles. You just need to become 3 to 5 mile radius famous.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you need. You just need 5 mile radius.
That's
famous.
a good way to say it. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that to explain to people. Like you need to be famous. I stole this from I stole this from somebody I interviewed. Grow where you're planted. There's another version of it. Like I forget. Bloom where you're planted. Something like that. But I say grow where you're planted. Start in your backyard. Immediately somebody sees your address and they see that you're in the backyard. Like people want to work local. There are people I like to keep my money local when I can. And, you know, honestly, like if I have a problem with somebody, I want to be able to go and say, hey, stand in front of them in their office and say, hey, I have a problem with you, you know, X, Y, and Z. So I think that's 100% true. It's like, you just, you know, for you, you just need to be, but you're getting famous on, right? You're getting exposure, and a lot of people that aren't necessarily going to ever buy fight tape. Mm-hmm. Don't stop what you're doing.
No, that's what it is.
But right. There's a lot of people that just follow because they like you, but they're not in the market for the brand or to come to your gym.
I just like the people like me.
Ben's got a great personality. I mean, I interviewed you once, and then you were like, "Hey, man, if you ever want me to come back," and I haven't been able to get rid of you since.
I mean,
right?
What I said was, you're like, "Hey, do you have anything to cover?" I go, "No, I'm just here to make sure that you ask me to be your co-host before I leave."
He did. Yeah. You did. You actually said something like that. He did say something like that.
Shoot your shot, baby. Shoot your shot.
He did, and he's
built
back
for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of these guys, Chris, that's everywhere. I open my phone and he's, you know, commentating for Combat Night, and you're going. Where are you going to Combate?
Saturday, I had Dirty Boxing at the Hangar Regatta in Miami. I'm here with you today. I'm going to leave here and go to Miami for Combate Global. Saturday morning, I'll go to St. Pete for Combat Night, and that's just this 7-day period.
How long are you? I'm being honest when I ask this. How long are you able to maintain the schedule that you have? Because this goes back to, I'm going to preface this with, this goes back to what Chris and I were talking about before, is like, you can't be everywhere and do everything.
Yes.
There's a life cycle to that.
Yeah. I mean, my major goal is gym ownership successfully, right? we're right in this weird pocket where I think we're at like growing pains again, where it's like, I don't have enough money to spend the money that I need to spend the money to jump to the next level.
For which brand?
For the gym.
For the gym.
For the gym. Like, I'm sure you're both business owners. I'm sure you've been there. You're like, oh my God, if I could just spend X, I'd jump to Y, but I'm just inches away from having X.
Okay.
So do I like do this? Do I do that? Or
what are the specific X and Y's? Because you got Cris here. I'm sure she can give some good advice on like what is X and Y? What do you need? What do you feel you need to do? And maybe why?
Well, I need a stronger sales force.
We were talking about that.
I need better training. I need to learn. Like, this is where I'm kind of at. Like, that's why I met Maya.
Yeah.
And I came to Maya because of Cris. She was doing so good in Growpro, and she was holding these weekly, if not bi-weekly webinars. And every week I'm just going, what am I doing? That's a great idea. Hey, I learned this in Maya, and it's popping up. And again, like I said, I'm friends with Jason. I'm like, what do you think? I've been telling you for 10 years. I don't know what you're waiting for.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I actually have some money. So I guess now's the time.
Yeah.
And so now I'm going, oh my God, I thought I was like here, and I'm like,
so Cris,
below.
what do you say? I'm sure that you're hearing this all the time. What does your staff say to somebody like Ben, a gym owner, and he's like, he's having this exact problem? What advice would you give him?
Yeah. Well, I would first say chase 2 rabbits, catch none.
Yeah.
And you just told me for the last 7 days, you're going to be doing this and this and this and this, which is, yes, it's a part of the martial arts industry, but that does not directly influence the success of your school. And the reason why I believe I can say this is because in 2017, I made the decision to launch the Perfect Kids Jiu-Jitsu class course. It was my first, okay, I'm going to put myself out there. I learned internet marketing. I was a big funnel hacker with, Russell Brunson's ClickFunnels. And this is what was really interesting. At the time, my school was doing about $550,000 in annual, revenue. So around $45,000, a little bit more per month, which, is pretty solid. I think the majority of the industry would, assume that is a successful school as long as profitability is where it needs to be, which should be aiming for a minimum of 20% profit. So in 2017, I launched the Perfect Kids Jiu-Jitsu class course. I sold it for $97. I'll never forget that feeling of the Stripe notification going off on my phone. And I literally was like making money while I slept. And I then, because of that success, rolled out a couple of other courses. And over the course of the year, I think, and I called it like Kids Jits Academy back then, I think I had almost made 6 figures from that, internet marketing. When I looked at what my school made that year, it was almost exactly to the dollar the amount less what I did the year before. So I made $100,000 with Kids Jits Academy, but I lost $100,000 with Gracie Pack. Why did that happen? Because if you chase 2 rabbits, you can't catch none.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
That is part of it, right? So that is one thing that I would say is, when you have all of these other side projects going on, and it's the curse of the entrepreneur. I mean, we all have shiny object syndrome. We get bored very quickly.
I guess.
And as you become more successful and your network gets bigger, you get more opportunities in front of you. And I mean, that's ultimately the last time I was on this, podcast, I was a school owner. I'm no longer a school owner. I sold my school because of this concept, chase 2 rabbits, catch none. So that I think does play a role in it.
Oh, this is just a busy week. I'm not going to have a week like this again for 4 months.
So, but let me ask you, but
it's mostly like, hey, Saturday
busy.
night. Where
So what are the things that you're doing? Like, I'll ask it this way. Why are you doing so many different things? Is it like, for me, like I just said it before, I get business from this.
Yeah.
I get people, hey, I watch your podcast. You own Black Belt? Hey, I own this business. I do this, right? So it helps. But this has always been something. We're 6 years in. I've only had the marketing company for 4 years, right? I think we're going on 5. So I was doing this before. It wasn't the intent, but it's what happened. I was like, oh, well, I opened up my company. Let me be the main sponsor, right? And then it worked. And then I was getting business, and I'm like, holy this is amazing.
Yeah.
Right? What are the things that you're doing meant to build, let's just say, is it fight rap, or is ultimately the moneymaker, the gym. Like the gym is is like for me, the marketing company is the big thing.
The gym is the primary. And it just so happened because I'm so heavily embedded in fighting.
Yeah.
You know, I learned, you know, to be a cutman, hand wrapper, etc.
Sure.
And that turned into, hey man, you're already at these shows anyway with guys fighting. You want to make some money while you're here? Sure. Yeah, I'm here anyway. You know, and that evolved into like, I'm the best cutman in the region. You know, I'm internationally like, you've made fun of me for it before, but in the International Cutman Association, like I'm internationally recognized at the level that I'm at.
Sure.
And that affords me more opportunities to, you know, one, get great networking contacts within the space that I work. I can then use those contacts like, hey man, you're in fight sports. You need gauze and tape. Do you want to friend to friend? Support local. We actually know each other. You don't know the guys at Title. You know me. And that feeds into fight tape. And like, oh, well, why do you have that? Well, I'm actually this highly ranked. Next thing you know, my team is working this pay-per-view event in a massive arena using my product to not just work with my fighters, but the entirety of it. So it all just kind of like gloms into a snowball.
If you took a step back right now and just looked at the things that you're doing, the two money makers are the gym and fight, right? The fight tape, right?
It's the gym by a long shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is there, when Cris said that, did you in your mind think, yeah, man, I'm doing too many things?
No.
Or did that resonate with you or no?
To the outside, to the secondary stuff, like I dedicate enough time to do social media for fight tape 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay.
You know, when I'm at a show, I make content and I'll use that spread out to the next show. You know, I'm at the shows anyway. That makes my content for the Cutman stuff. A good portion of it is for the gym because it's my fighters. Yeah. So it's just this kind of like overlapping thing. But in reality, if time out of the gym, like today as a Thursday is an anomaly. We don't normally do shows on Thursday. They don't even normally have shows on Thursday. I'm filling in for a buddy. Okay. So normally, like when I do, it's a Saturday or a Friday. I don't teach on Friday. My coaches do. So because of the volume of shows that I have, that we are all involved in, So I think it only takes like a couple hours out of my week outside of the shows that I'm booked for. But if I was like, hey, I got a call from Bellator once to work a show, and they're like, can you come on Wednesday? I'm like, absolutely not. I can show up the morning of the fight and leave the morning after it, kind of thing.
Yeah. So I mean, that definitely resonated. What Cris said definitely resonated.
But I
with me
100% agree.
Because I actually gave that advice to somebody in this room, like be careful putting like eggs in one basket kind of thing. Like he's smiling because I did say it. Like I've given that advice, like be careful. Sometimes when you start to spread yourself too thin or you try to do too many things, then they all suffer. And Cris, that was a perfect example. Oh my God, look what I did here. I made all this money on this instructionals and
wait a minute.
And then you look at the numbers and you're still in the same place. So as a serial entrepreneur, I consider myself, I swore that I wasn't going to do anything after the marketing company. And then I started the nonprofit. So it's like, I'm a victim of that and I haven't taken my own advice, but I was so passionate, felt very hurt because I'd been at an academy where now there were like these multiple events that had happened within the affiliation. I'm like, enough is kind of just had enough is enough and somebody's got to do something about it. And I had the ability to do something about it. So like that is like super passionate about that. But again, at the end of the day, it has also, our very first accredited academy became a client. And I was like, I didn't do academy safe to get more clients. And then all of a sudden somebody became a client. I'm like, we might be able to get, we can talk about that. It's
a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah. So again, it's like, it wasn't meant for that, but it happened. And I'm like, okay, so then this is worth doing. So kind of to my point here is like, make sure that the things that you're doing are feeding how do you make them feed the academy? Like there should be a little bit of a strategy, like, making sure that you're wearing you're always in your gear, right? But maybe your Palm Beach gear. Yeah. On the podcast here.
I noticed I cycle. Yeah.
Right. No, but it's good. And I do too. But I mean, it's either I'm wearing Sponsors brand or one of my brands. I mean, you see me, right? Little shout out to Your Happiness Equation author, Leighton Campbell. I'm wearing his hat, the books behind you. But always love to give him a shout out. We're trying to work on some insurance stuff for for both of my businesses, for Academy Safe as well, to protect the board members and things like that too. So working on some stuff, but he wrote an amazing book and support him. But otherwise, I'd be in a black belt digital marketing hat, but so Cris, what else do you have going on? You are very much focused on Growpro agency. You said, you mentioned that you sold the gym. What does Cris do for fun? Are you still training? Do you train regularly? Are you doing jiu-jitsu? Tell us a little bit about Cris outside of Maya and Growpro.
Yeah, I don't believe in work-life balance. I think
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to jump the gun. I've taken enough webinars.
I mean, I believe in just life. That's it. Like you have a life, and like who I am at work shouldn't be different than, who I am in my personal life. And, I really think about work-life integration. And I think at the end of the day, for me, I absolutely love building and creating. And I get to do that with Growpro. So whether that's sitting down and, writing a blog article or writing emails or a social media post or creating some SOPs for my team, like I absolutely love doing that. I recently watched this podcast with Alex Hormozy about, just kind of like if there were 3 things that if you did these 3 small things every day, you would say that it was a good day, right? Because I think sometimes as, business owners or just, non-business owners, like something can happen that sucks in the morning and you're like, oh, it's just an awful day. And that turns into, it's been an awful week or an awful month. I have an awful life. Right. And that question was posed, like if there were just 3 things that if those 3 things happened every single day, it would be a great day. What would those things be? And for me, it was a workout in the morning, done first thing, like sweaty workout, right? Not just a little bit, but like, a really great training session. Okay. If that happens, box checked off. Next box is some form of adventure time with my family, right? My wife and my sons, whether that's, hey, we're just going to sit on the couch and, watch Netflix, or we're going to go to the trampoline place, or we're going to go to the park, right? Some just some really great family time. If that happens, check that box off. Third thing is I got to build something today. And like I gave some examples earlier, that could be, a social media post, that could be filming, video content. To me, if those 3 things happen every single day, really great workout, time with my family, and I got to build something, then that was a really great day. And when you think of a really great life, what is a really great life composed of? Many, many really great days. So for me, I work every day. I work on the weekends too. I work about 4 hours on Saturday, 4 hours on Sunday. It doesn't impose on family time because I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm working before people are even up. And, I just really challenge this like stigma around, oh, you have to have work-life balance. You have to do something outside. I mean, I do. I love playing pickleball. I love playing the piano. I love spending time with my family. I am an avid reader. I'll read at least 50 books this year alone. And I love learning. I absolutely love learning, whether that's, I'm going to watch a podcast on YouTube or I'm going to take a course. If I can just get 1% better every single day, I absolutely love it. I go through phases with my training. There was probably about a 9-month stint. I was training with Matt Arroyo down at Gracie, Tampa South. Mm-hmm. I haven't been lately. Probably the last time I got on the mat was maybe about 2 months ago. And I just go through these kind of, ebbs and flows. I recently turned 40, and it's just very interesting on how your body now reacts in recovery. So yeah, that's a little bit about, what I do outside of work, but it is a really big part of who I am in my life because I love building and creating, and it's just like that question, like, oh, when do you plan on retire? Like, I want to build a life that I never have to retire from. And, I think to me, that's, the ultimate goal of success, like doing what you want, when you want, where you want, with whom you want, for however long you want. Yep. And if you can, set up your day-to-day life to it being something you really, truly enjoy, you don't ever need to retire from that. So I very long-winded answer.
No, that's a great answer. Actually, I've spoken on this podcast very frankly about, my relationship with my ex-wife, where me working and doing jiu-jitsu was like the other woman, I called it at that time. It was like, it was very difficult for, I worked a lot, and then I opened a marketing company. I was doing jiu-jitsu a lot, and then I was working for somebody else that was a 9 to 5. I didn't come home and do more work. But when I opened up the marketing company, then it was just like, I was working from home. You're always in the office. So if it was like, let's sit down and watch a movie, or the girls fell asleep in front of a movie, I'd get up and grab my computer and I'd do some work. And I caught a lot of flack for that, not being able to put it down, not being able to not work. But I'm like, I enjoy this. I enjoy the building process. I enjoy posting the video. Like if it wasn't for what I do, I would not be on social media.
Yeah.
I don't love being on social media. It's like fun watching funny videos and stuff like that, but making content and posting and doing all that stuff, I wouldn't be doing nearly what I do now, right? But it caused a problem for me. And I had always had that conversation with her about, like, my businesses are related to the thing that I do, the hobby, like the hobby became the business. And sometimes that could be a curse. Like, it's like, oh, jiu-jitsu. But now, like, I even consider going to jiu-jitsu, like, it's part of what I have to do. And I love it. I have to go to jiu-jitsu. I have to stay active in this world so that I can do these other things that I'm doing, be present. So I just feel very lucky that the hobby turned into these businesses, but it hasn't been like, I don't hate it.
Yeah.
My favorite day of the week is coming to the podcast. Absolutely. I love coming here, chatting. To me, it's almost like a day off. I prep in the morning. I'll leave here. I'll get some lunch. By the time I go home, it's the end of the day. I don't have anything on my schedule in the evening. Yeah. After the podcast, almost never. But then, things come up. But anyway, it's I feel blessed, and I think a lot of people feel that way. Like, you're a martial artist, and now you own a martial arts studio.
Yeah,
and
it's the best.
You love that, and then these other things have come about that are related to it. So, I feel very lucky. My relationship with my wife suffered, but I always say that it did change when she found kickboxing. Like, I could never get her to do jiu-jitsu, but then she found like a kickboxing place, and then she got addicted, and she was like, I was like,
dude, that's the dream. That's the dream.
You found, now you understand the addiction to this thing. Well, I'm like that with work. I love, like what Cris said, I love building these businesses. I love doing that. And I don't see myself retiring either. Like, I want to be on the mat, and I want to maybe be managing from the beach with a margarita in my hand, but still be involved somewhat with these businesses. And hopefully I, pass these things along to my daughter. But I feel very, very lucky that I found jiu-jitsu and these things that are related to it. But I mean, it was difficult for my partner. I don't know. Does your wife ever complain, Cris? Like, or you said you wake up early, so it's not a factor because you're doing it before she's even up?
Yeah. My wife, I opened my academy in 2012, and then I met my wife in 2013. So I had it for about a year, and she had experience in gym membership sales. So when we started getting serious and dating, she would come to the academy and she would help sell memberships, and she was really freaking great at it. Yeah. So that kind of turned into, her helping with, the back end office stuff. And, we ran the academy for many, many years together. And then when she got pregnant with our son, Cruz, we made the decision, because we were just able to, that she was going to become a stay-at-home mom. So, we had that experience of building a business together and knowing what it really takes to do that. And, for us, that was 7 days a week, in the business to make it work. So she understood what it took because she was a part of it. And then, when I decided to, solely kind of focus on Growpro, and, she's a stay-at-home mom, which is what she's always wanted to do. She has been nothing, but just completely supportive of what is needed. And it's as long as her needs are met as well, right? So that is important to me, to make sure that her needs are met. But, I do about 25 to 30 trips a year, like on an airplane, having to fly somewhere. And, I feel blessed that we have the opportunity for her and my son to come with, if it's a cool spot, if it's not a cool spot, she's usually like, probably going to skip this one.
I don't want to go to Wisconsin.
Exactly. But I am just very fortunate to have a wife that just saw firsthand what it took to build a really successful business. And she knows that, my dreams have gotten even bigger for what I want to do with Growpro. And she understands what it's, that is what it's going to take. And I mean, never once has ever given me any, pushback. If I say, hey, I, got to go in Saturday at 6 p.m. to go get this thing done, she understands that, like, I'm not going to go do that unless it's absolutely, a necessity. And, I think one thing that people will see somebody else accomplish, and they're, the whole like, oh, if I can do it, you can do it. And it's like, do you know what type of support system that person has? Because that support system can usually make or break the person's ability to get whatever needs to be done. And I'm just blessed that I have a, really, I don't like the word luck. I really freaking hate when somebody says, oh, you're lucky. Like, I feel very blessed and fortunate that is, the reality that I'm living, having such a supportive wife that understands, these are the long-term goals for us as a family. And this is the requirement that, it's going to take.
Yeah. I know the person that I'm dating now, I've definitely tried to mix business and pleasure. So if I'm traveling, if I'm going to even just go do something, I make sure, like, if it's business related, then we go to dinner. While we're on the road, I really try to mix what I like with, or what I'm doing with what she likes. So, going to a restaurant, going to a winery, like, I make sure that we're mixing in those, like you said, making sure that her needs are met, which I wasn't very conscious of before, but especially now, like, I'm traveling a little bit more because of these brands, which we didn't really do a lot before. So, saying, like, going down to Costa Rica for the retreat that I did with BJJ after 40, the next one's coming up. So talking about, do you want to come? You can come. There is a package where you go with somebody that doesn't train jiu-jitsu. So I go train it every day, and then we go and do catamaran.
That sounds awesome.
ATVs, go ride horses, go to the volcano. Like, that's interesting, and now I understand, like, that's what we need to do. But I also wasn't doing that before. Jiu-jitsu. Yeah, I would love to have her on the map, but she doesn't train jiu-jitsu. So yeah, I mean, I'm learning. I'm a work in progress, I think, like most people. But Cris, before we end things, we did get a question that I wanted to ask. We got this from, it was, I believe, let me see the name. It's like Alon Cruz. You said your son's name is Cruz. This is let me see. Let me let this load.
Yeah, I've known Alon for many
Alan Cruz. Okay, so is that it? Alon Cruz? Okay.
Yeah. We did a fight camp together. We both fought we fought MMA in Tennessee.
Okay.
Jeez, this had to be like 15 years ago.
Oh, damn.
And he just recently opened an academy. So.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Okay, so you know him. He said, looking back, what were the biggest needle movers when it came to growing your martial arts gym, especially in the early stages when you were under 100 students?
Yeah, RGAs, baby, RGA. Write it down, put it on a Post-it note, and put it on your computer monitor. It stands for revenue generating activities. I think one of the biggest mistakes new business owners, and particularly, martial arts school owners, make is they are not conscious of what they are spending their time on. And when I was first growing Growpro, I literally had the Post-it note on the monitor as a reminder and questioning, is the thing that I am doing a revenue generating activity? Oftentimes when you're opening up a martial arts school, you put more time, energy, and effort into what is the paint color that's going to go up on the wall? What should the lobby chairs, look like? Like, what's the restroom, going to look like? And not to say those things aren't important, but those things aren't going to pay your bills. Yeah. And I think often most new school owners just get wrapped up into all of the other stuff, when at the end of the day, you just need to generate revenue. So really making sure that your day is time blocked out for you to focus on revenue generating activities, which means typically marketing. And in the beginning, you don't have a lot of money. And as a business owner, we always have to make one of two decisions. Am I going to spend my time, energy, effort, which is like your sweat equity, or am I going to spend my money? And if you don't have money, guess what you're spending? You're spending your sweat equity. That's boots to ground. That's taking rack cards into, local B2B. That's going to the local elementary school and trying to create partners in education. That's becoming a part of your chamber of commerce so that you can expand your network. That is posting organically on social media and literally DMing every single new follower that you get. And I just think the big mistake that most school owners make is they spend too much time on non-revenue generating activities instead of revenue generating activities.
So in that same, what was for GoPro itself, what was like one of the things that maybe you implemented that you were like, this was a game changer for us? When we started doing things this way, this is what really changed things for us.
Yeah, I mean, I truly believe that every single business is one JV partnership away from a 7-figure company. So what do I mean by JV? That's a joint venture partnership. And it's the same in, the martial arts school. It's you're talking top 1% to have a 7-figure academy, right? There's not many schools that in one location can do that, right? When you start opening multiple locations, that becomes, more prevalent. But every business is one joint venture partnership away from adding 7 figures to their bottom line. And for us, that joint venture was Maya. But now we have joint ventures partnerships, not only with Maya, but also with Market Muscles, the #1 website company in the industry, joint venture with the ATA, the largest licensee company in the martial arts industry, with Skills, who helps with kids curriculum and kind of more of the traditional martial arts realm. And that same concept works in a martial arts school. It just takes a lot of effort. And, I think that's why digital marketing companies are so popular. It's like, oh, I'm just going to pay the digital marketing company and they can be responsible for the leads. Like, that is not a proactive marketing strategy. What is a proactive marketing strategy is putting together a pamphlet of all the things that you can do for the local elementary schools, walking in and saying, hey, can we sponsor your PTA? Do you need PE teachers for the day? Do you want me to come in and, do a talk to the kids? How can I help you? Because at the end of the day, business in its most simplistic form is about relationships. That's it. And the stronger relationships that you can have with JV partners, the more successful you're going to be. As a digital marketer, I will sit here and say on record, I don't think that there is any faster way to grow your martial arts school than becoming partners in education with the local elementary school. That local elementary school has 800, maybe 1,000 of your ideal prospects if you have kids programs, right? Which all of my BJJ school owners that are listening, I hope you have a kids program because it is a phenomenal profit center. But besides that, you're just going to make a huge impact in these kids' lives, and they will literally remember you forever. So to me, that is the one thing that changed the game, not only for Growpro, but we had multiple partners in education at Gracie Pack, and we really leaned into that when we were doing after school program pickup. We did the whole thing. We had the 4 vans and, 80 plus after schoolers and 100 plus summer campers. Partners in education is what really helped us see that kind of hockey stick level growth, for our kids' programs, on top of doing the other things like Facebook ads and Google ads and putting rack cards in local businesses and literally taking coloring sheets to the local restaurants. Like, if it is a marketing strategy that could potentially produce 1 student, I'm going to go and do it. And what most school owners do is they just say, I'm going to try this one marketing strategy and hope it's going to bring me 20 students, when you should be trying 20 marketing strategies, hoping each one is going to bring you 1, because you shouldn't be putting all of your eggs in one basket.
I like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. That's great advice.
If you put all your eggs in one basket and that basket develops a hole, you are out of eggs.
Yeah.
I mean, COVID proved that, right? I mean, the schools that heavily relied on just word of mouth and referrals were the ones that really got hit hard, because kind of hard to refer people when we're not going into the school. Yeah. And, it was the schools that did have the diversification, right? It's the same thing with like our long-term investments. We want a diversified portfolio. You need to have a diversified marketing strategy in place as well.
Food for thought, right?
Yeah.
I'm
There's a lot of moving
going to
parts
talk
in
to you.
there.
We're going to talk a little bit after this. When I see you with so much going on, I'm like, I don't know how you have I have a lot less going on than you, and I don't have any time in a day.
What's that?
There you go.
I don't sleep. What's that?
This wasn't my intent of having Chris on. Let's get Ben to do less.
Dude, honestly, my wife took so much off my plate in terms of these things. Like, I'm not good bureaucratically.
Yeah.
I've always been like that outlier. Like, I'm just going to do it myself.
Yeah.
And my wife worked in the consulates, so she's very good with bureaucracy and structuring.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I was like, hey, why don't you help me? She's like, well, with what? And I'm like, everything you're good at. All of a sudden, like, my daughter's was in VPK. She's going into kindergarten next year. But all of a sudden, we've got 7 VPKs within 3 miles of the gym that every time we're doing a Mardi Gras party or an outreach event or a mass intro or a themed event or a board breaking, so we're like, but we got 7 VPKs that we're dropping off to. Now that she's going to kindergarten, I've gone in, I've met the principal, and she was like, oh, do you help schools? I'm like, that's actually why I'm here.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And like, on top of the fact that I'm a parent coming into the school. So we're getting those balls rolling. That's all kind of in the works in the moment.
I don't know if they have this up there by you. I'm assuming maybe they just do it everywhere, but they didn't do this in New York. Not when I was a kid, but like all the schools here, they let you, but like you could put like a maybe 4x8 banner on their fence, right? They sell them. They might print them for you. Like I always felt like for gyms, that's a great foot in the door. Like, hey, you're doing that. Hey, but what else could we be doing together? Or like, I mean,
I did it in the past. Again, when like, other than a good picture, saying, hey, we support our local community, we didn't get much out of it. Yeah. But I didn't even know Partners in Education was a thing at that time. Yeah. I thought Partner in Education was buying the banner, giving the school $500, and they're like, thanks. Yeah. Now I know there's like so much more to it.
Yeah. Do you guys Chris, do you like recommend that your academies do anything? I want to say like in our world, we would kind of say like an affiliate program, but for students, like if you bring in a new member or you recommend somebody some type of referral program that they get something. Do you guys recommend that? Like, has that worked? Is that something that works?
Yeah, I actually got the idea of the party wheel for a referral. So if you bring someone in and they become a full-fledged member, they get to spin the wheel.
Oh yeah,
it could could be $100, $50, $20, free private lessons, free rash guard set, free kimono, etc.
Okay, very cool. Yeah. Do you feel like that works? Is it
what I've noticed is I have people that they'll be a member for 8 months. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, Jim referred me," and I was like, "Why didn't you tell us?
Come spin the wheel."
It's on the form. It's like member referral. Write the name. Yeah. There's a whole like space for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So referral programs, I mean, it's a full-on system, and one, it does start with having a visual referral program, right? Maybe you as the owner think you have a referral program, but do your students know about it, which is why I like having that prize wheel. But it's really about kind of building this into the culture. So when somebody is enrolling at our school, we make an assumption that somebody referred them. So when they're getting ready to enroll, we'll ask like, oh, who referred you to Gracie Pack? And they might be like, oh, well, I found you guys online, or, I looked you up and, you were at the top of Google. And that opens up the door for us to explain our referral program. And we say, oh, well, the majority of our members that come in were actually referred by another member. This is what our referral program looks like. Then we also give them VIP passes. So now they have a physical, tangible, sheet that they can give to their friends. So you just make the assumption that somebody did refer them, and it opens the door for you to explain that referral program. Prize wheel to me is the best thing. And you've got to make it, again, visual. So it's not like, oh, they refer, you just tell them, oh, go ahead and spin. You build it into your mat chat at the end of the class, and you bring that person over, whether it's an adult or a kid. And, you make the announcement like, hey, Johnny referred his friend Sarah, who signed up, and they do have to sign up on a full program. It's not just, like a trial, 4 weeks for whatever. And you have them spin that wheel in front of everybody. And at the end of the day, cash is king. That's what everybody would prefer. Yeah. So I would recommend having some, cash spots on there, but it could be a free private lesson. It could be a free, if you do a tournament, like registration to our, in-house tournament. It could be, $75 to our pro shop. But the key is, one, build it into the culture, and two, make it visual. And You know, I mean, if you offer a really great product and service, you should be consistently getting referrals into your school, but you got to let people know about, hey, there's, a benefit to you, referring them, because everybody's tuned into WIIFM. What's in it for me?
Do you have your referral program kind of printed on like a large banner that you keep behind your desks and
It's a
stuff?
huge poster,
Yeah.
huge poster up on the wall that breaks down the referral program. And, there's a difference between a referral program and referral contests. So your referral program should just be kind of like your bread and butter. You do that throughout the year. But then there are certain time periods. There's seasonality in the martial arts industry, and it's important to understand that. And there's really like 3 times of the year where you got to go pedal to the metal in your marketing. That's going into summer, coming out of summer, and going into the new year. So during those time periods, we recommend, doing like a referral contest where it could be you get double referral rewards. So, hey, during the next 30 days, if you refer somebody, you get to spend twice, right? And I mean, we have a full system for referral contests, but at a minimum, every martial arts school should have a visual referral program that your students know about.
So, Chris, when somebody's working with you guys, you give them that. You're saying not Gracie Pack has this. You're saying you help your clients with this process.
So at Growpro, our services are Facebook ads and Instagram ads, Google ads, Google business profile management, social media management, database reactivation, which is email and text message marketing. And then we have the Concierge, right? We've also have an AI bot and some other things, but those are our main services. One of the bonuses of being a client of Growpro is I teach a monthly masterclass. And that monthly masterclass, it's done on Zoom, and it has a wide range of topics, from let me teach you how to become a partner in education with the local school, how to launch a referral program, what should your 4-step enrollment process look like. So I do that monthly Zoom as just an added bonus. But if somebody is really looking for that kind of one-on-one coaching, that's really where Maya comes in, the Martial Arts Industry Association.
Okay.
Can I just kind of
you can
blow
do whatever
her
you want
for a second? Those webinars she's talking about, that you can get into a lot of them for free, like through her videos. Hey, if you're interested in this, click this, and you get a webinar for free. And I started taking those webinars months before I signed up for Growpro. And then once on Growpro, Growpro has its own back-end university. Maya has its own back-end. There's just so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't afford it, but you have the sweat equity to put into it, hound her socials and do every single one of these webinars. And if you stick to what she's telling you, you'll have the money to afford it soon enough.
Yeah.
So I've done a free webinar every single month for the last, I want to say, like 54 months. And what I think ends up happening is the term webinar, for most people going on a webinar, you're like, oh, they're just doing this because they're going to sell me. This was my way of giving back to the community. And, most webinars are going to teach you, like, this is what you should do and this is why you should do it, but they don't teach you the how because they want to sell you the how. I give it all away, and I have no problem doing that. That's me putting, karma points out, karma points in the karma bucket. And because I want to truly help these school owners, and I understand I don't have the money, but I need to learn from somebody that, I can trust, because that's another aspect of it. But yeah, if you go to growproagency.com/webinars, there's 50 some odd free webinars, from marketing to sales to, building teams to business ops, and it's completely free. You also get access to the keynote, because I do I share the screen and have a keynote on there. And there's usually some form of like an action plan or a checklist, or these are your next steps. And it's, like I said, it's completely free. I do one every single month. I have never missed a month. And they're all on YouTube, or you can access them through our website. I appreciate the shout out, Ben. That was super awesome of you.
Just being honest.
So we're actually, you said the word webinar. We're doing a webinar for Academy Safe.
Nice.
The Secret Service is running a webinar in conjunction with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and Academy Safe, specifically for our audience, on June 24th. That's next Tuesday. Is that next Tuesday, right? Next Tuesday, the 24th at 10 a.m. I'm going to start posting about it, and we're going to have like an Eventbrite so people can sign up. So it's going to be hopefully gym owners, some of our members, hopefully, and some of the public. So we're going to advertise it in a few different places. It's coming quick. We should have everything finalized today. But we're going to be doing that. We're going to be doing a webinar. You should try to be on that if you can.
Shoot me the links.
As a member that's not through the process yet,
Bro.
almost fully accredited with Academy Safe. We're right there at the tail end.
It's taken forever.
Yeah.
Some people just don't want to get CPR certified.
That's okay. You still have a listing page. Everybody passed that background check, so we've got you listed. So that's a good thing. But once you finalize them, we can start promoting you, and you get your stickers for your door and your windows and all that stuff. And then we'll start posting about you. So it's really cool. We have Joe Scargill, who is on the board, who's part of the Secret Service, introduce us to the gentleman's name is Nevada Gump. How much more secrets? Like how crazy? I don't know that he's going to hear this. But it's awesome. What a great name for a Secret Service agent. Nevada Gump. Like he was born to be like a Secret Service agent. So he's going to be running that. And again, the Secret Service works very closely with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. We're supposed to be actually doing a walkthrough of their West Palm Beach facility. If that's on the docket as well. We have to find out if they'll let us film when they walk through.
Yeah, reasonable.
So we got to find out. But I thought that was really cool. So Cris, we're gonna leave it there. Do you just mentioned the webinars and the link, but do you want to give like everybody your socials, where they can find you, where they can find GoPro?
Yeah, so Cris, C-R-I-S, Lee, like Bruce Lee. Yes, my middle name is Lee. Rodriguez, that's it. Cris Lee Rodriguez, give me a follow. There is a ton of BJJ content in there, but there's also a ton of marketing content, leadership, biz dev. That's what I love geeking out on. Mm-hmm. And if you're a school owner, we'd love to see you at MayaCon. Milton, you got to tell me about this Jiu-Jitsu Con thing at the end of August. I want to learn more about that. It sounds pretty dope.
IBJJF. That's their big event. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Hey, Vegas. Hey, I think your wife would like Vegas. Is that on the list of cool trips to go on?
I used to work for Grappler's Quest. So talk about old school, right? Yeah. Like back in the early 2000s, it was Naga and Grappler's Quest. That's those were the two big ones. And I was a tournament director. And we would go to Vegas like 2 or 3 times a year. And it was awesome, right? I'm in my 20s. I'm getting flown out to Vegas. They're covering my flight, my hotel. I'm getting per diems. And it was awesome. And I feel like I did my fair share of Vegas in my 20s. I no longer drink and I don't gamble.
Yeah.
But it is really great for people watching. That is for sure. And the shows are really great. Yeah. So I don't mind going to Vegas, but definitely a little bit different now in my 40s than, it was in my 20s.
I haven't been to Jiu-Jitsu Con. I haven't been to an IBJJF event in a while. Again, Flow and Roll is going to be out there. We're trying to figure out like exactly what we're going to do for Academy Safe. Like I'm really trying to focus on Academy Safe when it comes to being out at events or me being out at events. Rob from McDojo, trying to get him out as well. So we'll both be at the ISKA event a couple of days before MayaCon. All right, so we should be there. Again, we're just working out the final details once we do that. Rob's already going to be there. And then, we'll hopefully have that table at MayaCon. And then the next one up will be the Jiu-Jitsu Con in Vegas. What are you doing in August? No, in August. The end of August.
The end of August.
Yeah. Your wife let you go to a work event?
Yeah. She'll want to come with me to Vegas.
Welcome to a new age in wellness, healing, and recovery. Leheal Biogenix is at the forefront of new and natural methods of treatment. Friendly staff will take you through the process comfortably and help you optimize your body, heal injuries, and recover from physical stress and traumas. From red light therapy, laser treatment, to peptides, and much more. Check out Leheal.com. Be your best. Get Leheal. Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram @flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
Unlock the power of your online presence with Black Belt Digital Marketing. Their reputation management program ensures your Google business profile seen by more potential customers. Black Belt Digital Marketing is your full-service digital marketing agency specializing in local SEO and reputation management. Boost your business today. Visit bbdigitalmarketing.com. Your success is their priority.
All right, so we put on our glasses. Let's just give Leheal Optics a big, quick shout out. You could check out Leheal Optics at lehealoptics.com. Use code JJD for 10% off. Got these really cool bamboo sunglasses. I should have some more to give away on the next episode. Shout out to Sean at Flow and Roll again. Flowandroll.com. Use code JJD for 10% off there as well. Cris, stay on. We're going to do our little picture thing. We'll put you on the screen over here, take a couple of pictures for our launch images and things like that. But thank you so much for doing this. Again, appreciate you. Love, told you I could talk about marketing for another 2 hours. And, I just love hearing what other people have going on. It helps me go, all right, I'm on the right path, or I should be doing that. And, different things that I can implement. I hope it was helpful for you
Definitely.
too. It was like you had your own private, webinar here with Cris today.
Yeah, buddy.
Send the invoice to Ben Stark,
Jiu-Jitsu Dummies.
But listen, thank you everybody for watching and listening. Check us out, Jiu-Jitsu Dummies on Instagram, Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast on YouTube. Those are the best places to watch and download the podcast. My personal ID is Uncle Milty BJJ. And thank you for watching and listening, everybody. Peace, love, Jiu-Jitsu.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.